First off, just excited for the challenge this week. Got a lot of respect for the Rams and what they've been able to do over the past, 6-7 years. Got a great coach over there, really good players. Got a lot of respect for the quarterback, the defense, everything. So we got to be ready to roll this week, be detail-oriented in everything we do in our process. I'm excited for the challenge.
Shane, you guys undefeated, you were the first place in the division. How much have you stressed to this team about not getting comfortable with America?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the message it's been every day. Today I hit him with day one mentality, and that's pretty much as simple as like the first day you get hired anywhere. I mean, it's like with anything, you get a job or you get hired or you get hired at ESPN. It's that day one mentality of like, shoot, I got hired. Like, you're excited. And I said that to the players. It's like, hey, it's day one. It's like, remember the first day you got drafted? Remember the first time you took that field, that feeling you had? We can't lose that feeling, and it's got to be laser focused all the time.
Shane will out practice today.
He will not. Him and Kenny Moore will not participate today.
Kitty.
No, he had the calf, but obviously we did a little more research on it. It's a little more in the Achilles, but so we'll see how the week goes.
IR possibility?
Not right now.
Was there anyone else who came out of Nashville that's going to not get practice?
Yeah, we're working through a couple guys, so you might see it on the injury report. Yeah.
So what do you think O-line through 3 weeks and just the level of play that they've been at?
They've been playing at an extremely high level. I think they're playing together. The communication's been really strong. The pass protection's been really good. The run game's been really good as well. So we got to continue that. I think the guys, like I said, they're playing together. They're communicating at a high level. Coaching staff, Tony's got those guys playing good, so we got to continue that.
Shane, with Tyler, how important is it for him to be able to not just play a bunch of different positions, but to be able to do multiple things out of those different positions?
I think when you got a guy with that type of skill set, you want to be able to use that skill set. So I think, our offensive coaching staff, Jim Bob, leading the charge, does a hell of a job, along with Tommy as tight end coach, looking at different things. Obviously, we're all in there working together and trying to figure out ways to get him the ball in different situations. So it's a pleasure to have that when you got different type of skill sets to try to, use them.
I guess sometimes when you get a player who's used in like different spots, sometimes it's like if he's in this spot, he's going to do this thing. But that doesn't seem to be the case with Tyler. Like there's not a almost a tell of when he.
Yeah, I think, as a staff, you always want to try to put eyewash on everything you do and not have those tells. And obviously, you're going to have some tendencies throughout the season as it goes, but trying to break those tendencies.
What did you learn last year about Pitt playing through that back situation? I mean, he's going to go on IR and then just said screw it.
Yeah, I think it's his toughness. He's one of the toughest guys I've been around, for sure. I learned that my first year with him, and then obviously last year going through the back situation, just showing up for his teammates every day and fighting like crazy and making contested catches and blocking and doing all the dirty work. Just phenomenal toughness.
You see, he looks kind of rejuvenated now, because he feels like himself again.
Yeah, no, he's been looking good. Obviously, he's had a good first 3 weeks, and we got to continue that, and he's putting in the work and putting in the effort for sure.
Shane, why do you think Coach Brano is able to get so much out of his O-line group? And every time I talk to you guys, they love him.
Yeah. I think part of it is he did a great job when he got here with myself. We got here 2 years ago of getting to know the players and knowing them personally on a personal level. And I think when you do that with all your players, there's a relationship that gets built there. And I think that pays huge dividends. And then obviously knowing what you're doing and being very cerebral and smart in the meetings and having a plan for everything when stuff comes up, he's always got an answer. And that's what you want, out of a coach.
Personality-wise, and you mentioned like day one mentality. Does he embody that? I guess, is he more outward with that? Because it seems like he, truly loves this stuff and probably, wouldn't want any other way.
Yeah, there's no question. I think, he grew up around it. Obviously, his dad was an NFL head coach, grew up in it, seen it, as a little kid growing up and what it takes, to be successful in this league. And, he has that day one mentality for sure, and he's always ready to roll. He brings that energy. He's feisty, and he gets a lot out of those guys.
Is there anything that you do to maintain that day one mentality in yourself, something you discipline yourself toward?
Yeah, I think, when I wake up every morning, first thing that comes to my head is give thanks, to God for being alive, one. And then I go through my process of like, hey, man, I get to go to work today. It's not like a chore. We're fortunate enough to do what we do and go through that process of, hey, what's the day going to look like as I'm driving in, everything that needs to get done. And then when I get in the office, getting ready to roll and getting prepared, for the day.
Shane Steichen, there's a ton of impressive numbers right now. Is there one or one aspect to his game that really stands out to you?
I don't know. A lot of it's pretty darn good right now. One aspect, I think him just operating. I think in the huddle, I think that's a huge part of it. Obviously, he's playing at a high level right now. He's making great decisions. He's throwing the ball efficiently. We're getting the explosive plays that we need. But I think the biggest thing that people don't see is that communication in the huddle, at the line of scrimmage, in the meeting rooms. I mean, that stuff's paying huge dividends for us.
He's been very accurate, like with ball placement.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed that, and what do you attribute that to?
I think it's him and obviously Coach Cam, working, and those guys getting together and obviously working on the timing and the footwork and where we want the ball thrown and how we want the ball thrown, and really having a feel for it. Those zones, sometimes you got to drill it, sometimes you got to lay it firm with an arc, and I think he's just done a phenomenal job with it.
I guess knock on wood, but are the no turnovers a reflection of everything you just said?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Efficiency,
yeah. There's no question. That's a big part of it. I think obviously knowing where to go with the football and how to throw the football is huge. And again, it starts up front with those guys protecting them. They've been doing a hell of a job doing it, and the receivers doing their job and getting open. It takes everybody.
You guys expect Mike Hilton to be able to play on Sunday?
Yeah, we'll see how he progresses this week. Obviously, he's got a lot of familiarity with Lou's scheme. Been a player in this league for a long time, so we'll get him out there this week and see how the week goes.
Coach, what's the biggest area of improvement you noticed in A.D. Mitchell from last year to this year?
I think, just over the middle, contested catches. He did that through training camp, OTAs. And then again, he's always been able to win one-on-ones and create that separation, and that hasn't changed. But I think, going into year 2, he's always been a worker. He's an in-here early morning guy. But I think as you just get older and you kind of see the NFL and how it works and everything and how you go about your business, I think that level of standard just continues to raise. So we really like where he's at right now.
The city's been buzzing about what you guys are doing right now. I mean, yeah, we know it's early, but do you feel that? How much that motivates you guys when you guys are winning these games this week?
Yeah, I think anytime you have, momentum early in the season, the biggest thing is keeping that momentum. And that's why I go back to that day one mentality and taking it one day at a time, because we know this is a long season. But we're excited, about where we're at. But again, it's the process that we got to go through each and every week to get done what we need to get done.
We saw that JT run. Obviously, that's a highlight reel play from him. He's had a lot of those in his career. But from a blocking standpoint this season, it doesn't show up in the box score, but what are you seeing from him in that regard? And how important is that, too, to making sure your offense stays efficient?
Yeah, it's been big. I think he's been very physical at the point of contact with those guys. I think DeAndre, our running back coach, does a great job with them with the protection stuff. When we have our protection meetings, we go through those things, and they break off in their individual meetings. There's a lot of conversation that goes on. Obviously, you get some unique looks throughout the week, and you got to be on it. That's part of the mental game, too, not just the physical game, but understanding, who you got to pick up in pass protection. And he's been doing a good job with that.
Is the Los Angeles pass rush a little bit different? Because it feels like it's all of them. It doesn't feel like there's one guy who stands out above the rest. It's just kind of.
Yeah, I think they got a very talented group. I got a lot of respect for their D-line coach, Giff Smith. I was with him at the Chargers for a long time, and I think he gets a lot out of those guys. I think the edge rushers are really good inside. I think they're physical and powerful guys. So it'll be a hell of a challenge for our offensive line this week, but a lot of respect for those guys over there.
When you think about Stafford, what do you think is going to be allowed him to be so successful in this league for so long?
It's a great question. I think he's one of the best probably to ever do it. And I think he has a physicality about him, like he's tough as it gets. I mean, you see him taking shots and he gets up and he ain't coming out of the game, and that's respect there, right away, just seeing that. But I think he can make all the throws. I think he does a great job of seeing it. Like I said, he makes some big plays with his arm, and when you got a guy that's done it at a high level for a long time, he's seen a lot of different looks, and so getting him in and out of the right plays is huge. He's been doing that for a long time, but just the utmost respect for him.
Do you treat a few more differently with the long travel? Is there anything
Yeah, we're going to go out Saturday. We'll leave here about 1 o'clock, which is about 10 o'clock West Coast time. We'll get to the hotel about 3:30 West Coast time, which is 6:30 on their bodies. We'll get in. We'll have a quick, dinner there. We'll have meetings, and then we'll have an early bed check, which, early, which will be later on their bodies. And then obviously it's, 4 o'clock kickoff on their bodies and 1 o'clock there. So, our sports science staff, Mike Minnis, does a great job with that stuff. Just making sure their bodies are ready to go.
How careful do you all have to be with King Moore in the calf? And I say this because, at least in this city, Tyrese had a calf, in the basketball game, Roy had a calf, it turned into an Achilles. So, I guess, how do you gauge that moving forward?
Yeah, I think with any injury, obviously we rely on the trainers and the doctors. I think that's a big part of it in the rehab process, that we go through, and then relying on the player, too, on how he feels. Obviously, we'll go through the rehab and, run them and work them out and stuff and see where it's at. And like I said, rely on him and the trainers and the doctors for that stuff.
Blackman's played mostly outside so far, but obviously he can shift inside. Have you guys seen a lot of him inside yet?
He's done a little bit of both. But, yeah, I like where he's at. I think that was a great get by Chris, trading for him. But good. He's a feisty player, physical. So we'll see where that goes, too, as well. But really like where he's at.
LA held Saquon out to the 2.6 yards per carry last week. What do you stand out about their run defense?
I think it starts up front with the D-line. I think those guys do a great job. I think their backers are good communicators. You can see them always talking on film, communicating at a high level. And I think they just stay gap sound, in their defense. They're not out of gaps a lot of times. So we got to be great up front, with our run fits and how we're fitting things up and getting to the second level. Because they are an aggressive, attacking style defense up front.
The day one mentality, maybe you kind of hit on this, but it seems like you felt the need to coach your team a little differently, given the record. Would that be accurate? And I guess what's that balance? And you want to keep the same?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's obviously, we're excited right now, and we got, we feel that, but at the same time, it's such a long season, and we got to understand that. Our players got to understand that. Coaches got to understand that. It's what have you done for me lately? And that's the message that's going to keep getting preached day in and day out.